I'm Ben Diesel, and this is Hostile. Hostile is an incredibly fun one-on-one or small group effect. You will also learn an impromptu version, as well as one of my favorite variations, and also my technique of taking a borrowed ring and balancing it on your thumb. And once you've linked the ring and the rubber bands, you can actually hand out this impossible object to your spectator. Hey guys, I'm Ben, and thanks for checking this out. This is one of my favorite effects. It's very clean, visual, and the best part about it is that everything can be handed out at the end. So let's get into it, and I hope you guys like Hostile. Welcome back, everybody. So what you're going to need for the performance is 2 rings, a duplicate ring, and a rubber band that's glued, that's been cut and glued back together around one of the rings. I'm going to get into a little bit later, but you can use like lifesavers if you don't want to buy 2 rings. You can use really anything that has a hole in it that's obviously not easily going to come on and off a rubber band. But we're going to get into that later. So the actual method itself, you have the one ring on there the entire time, and that's what you actually are going to be handing out at the end, and why it's so clean. Everybody can pass it around and touch it, and if they break it themselves, I mean, I didn't do it. So, but what you're going to be doing is when you're setting up, the final position you're going to get right before you perform the trick is like this. So what you're having, the ring is actually being held on there by the pull of the rubber band. And it's hiding right behind your thumb. And your angles are actually honestly pretty good. I have kind of like a ridiculous hitchhiker's thumb, so I can kind of get away with a little wider audience. But for the most part, you're going to be doing this for like maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 people. Your right-hand side is pretty clean no matter what. They might not see the trick, but they're not going to give it away. So this is what it'll look like from your point of view. You want to be sure to get the angles on this, because it is a little sensitive up and down. But all you have to do, look at the ring. If you can see your thumb and not their eyes, it's a really good place to be. Like, I kind of just put my thumb over their eyes. If there's somebody tall to the right, this kind of hand covers it. You're good over there. But the person right on and anybody there, just generally get it in their general eye level. And you can, if you don't want to keep it up that high, you can get their eye level to get the angle, and then you can kind of adjust by slowly going down and like turning slightly. But really at eye level works fine. So I take the ring, I show it, slide it down, drop, lower the thumb so there's no clank, because sometimes this will happen. Oh, I can't even do it anymore. Sometimes this will happen. Like, not that badly, but you'll get that clank noise if you rub the 2. So you want to avoid that. If it happens, don't panic. Just keep going with it. Nobody's going to really pay attention. Just say it's part of it's a magical sound or something, or just don't even bring it up. Yeah. So slide it down. Thumb drops. This goes down. Your fingers wipe it away. Goes into the finger clip. Grab the rubber band, turn it. Squeeze it again, hand it out, and then ditch the ring in your back pocket. I just want to mention again about the clanking noise. If you get the 2 rings, sometimes when I was practicing it, I would bring it down and I would relax the fingers too soon, and it would do that, and as I wipe away. So just work on bringing it down, lowering the thumb, and then releasing the tension with your right thumb. So it's going to go slide down with the left, relax with the right, and then up. And then you'll just get it. You'll kind of figure out the rhythm yourself. Now I'm going to go into the explanation and a few variations that you can use with Hostile. First off, like I said, you need a duplicate ring and a rubber band. You can get any rubber band. You want it to be a little bit stretchy, so if you have one that's kind of tighter, I think it's 19. I'm not sure what size this is. This is definitely a 19. but you're going to stretch it out a little bit, get it a little bit looser. Take some scissors and try to cut it at an angle, the rubber band. It makes it easier when you're gluing it back together. When I was first doing this, I was actually just putting the ring on there and tying it, but people like somehow think you might have tied it somehow. It just kind of takes away from the effect. You throw the ring on there. Do it on a plate or like a piece of hard paper. Tissue paper won't work too well if you glue on because it'll get all stuck on there, but get out some super glue, whatever you want to use. Make sure the ring is on the rubber band before you glue it. So just put a little teeny bit of glue on each end of this rubber band. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I want to go through it. It's a little tricky to get rubber bands to go together, but you want to let it dry a little bit. You're going to have to kind of experiment with the timing. There might be a better glue out there. I researched it. I couldn't find anything. But I've been told that this works fine, and it's worked on my gimmick. So make sure the rubber band's not twisted at all. You have to hold the rubber band very steady as the glue is setting. And it takes a little bit of time to get your hand steady enough to glue it together. If you had some clamps or maybe some like alligator clips or something like that, you could get them, make a stand and make this a lot easier. But it'll start to dry. It takes a little time holding them together to get them to start to stick. Right now it's just barely sticking, but you want to let it dry longer. I let it generally completely dry, and then I add a little bit more glue, and then I let it dry again so it's really strong. You don't want to put a lot of glue all over, like up and down, because it does kind of like take away the strength of the elastic, and it makes it less strong. But this one it's pretty close to being good to go. But it does take a little time. You might get frustrated, but they will stick together. A variation of Hostile involves lifesavers. I couldn't find any of the hard lifesavers, so I'm going to explain it to you with the gummies. But what you're going to do is attach one of the lifesavers to the rubber band exactly like we did the ring. And then you're going to get a duplicate color of the one that's attached to the rubber band. And then just get a random color. You could have this in a pack, in one of those rolls of lifesavers, and have those two colors loaded up at the end. So like when you tap them out, only two fall out. This would be on the gimmick on the rubber band somewhere. You would take these, offer them to a spectator, and say, "Let's go ahead and take one." If they took the red one, pop the green one in your mouth, and say, "But don't eat yours. Hold on," and then continue to perform the trick. And then you can hand that out. That's what's great about that, using it with edibles, because you don't want to hand out your ring just because it's your ring and it costs money. But with the lifesavers and stuff like that, it's something that they can take home with them. They can eat it, or they can just save it. So. You might be wondering what that ring kind of like thing was on my thumb during the demo. It's not part of the trick I was releasing, but I'll just show it to you because it's really not much, but it kind of looks cool when I set it like that. But what I'm doing is just balancing it on my thumb. There's no trick to it. I mean, the only advice I can give you is make sure your ring is not like a woman's ring. It's like wider, and also if you squeeze it a little bit down on your thumb, it kind of gives you an indent, and you can pretty much do whatever you want. You got a lot of, once you get used to it, you can walk around with it all day. So. Dan Harlan showed me this idea, and if you want a routine with it, it's something to add. You can do it with the ring back there to start it off. It's kind of a throwaway, but it kind of makes the second part, when you do that, more powerful because the ring is actually on there and they can hand it out. So what you're going to do, you take the ring, put it up against the rubber band, and you melt it on just like that. And you can move it up and down and then pull it back off, and that's it. So what I'm actually doing is placing the ring up against here, kind of flat, putting my thumb on it, twisting over and catching it with this finger. So the rubber, it's all like, so it looks like this. The rubber band's not actually going through the ring. It's going around the back, but they don't see that. And when you're going up and down, it's just the rubber band stretching up and down. You don't have to actually get that rubber band to slide back and forth. You just need it to stretch back and forth. And just make sure your fingers are pinched. A little practice in the mirror, you'll get the angles right. It's not huge. And then what I do at the end is I pull it across. You don't want to pull it too much, especially if you're doing it with this on the back, because it'll fly off and it won't be good. But just pull it across a little bit and then just release, and it looks like it pops off. And then you can go into that and then hand it out, and they can check it out. Thanks again for checking out Hostel. Like I said, it's very fun to do. I do it all the time. It's something I carry around if I don't have a deck of cards or if I don't have a big coin. But it's something I do alongside of like Ring Thing or stuff like that that are all fun to check out. I also want to give a thanks to Dan Harlan for kind of helping me with the equivocate part of that. I know it's only with 2 lifesavers, but he really actually helped me out with that, and also attaching the impromptu version of the rubber bands, attach and pull off. Thanks again, guys, and I hope you have fun with Hostel. I'm out.